Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. If you want to watch me live stream every single day in my Discord, you can click the description below, the WAP link. I live stream every single day. If you want to watch me, okay, live tapering, I call the draw on liquidity, I do everything. Okay, so really strongly recommend doing that if you want to learn. Got a lot of experienced traders in my Discord, so feel free to check that out. It's pretty cheap compared to most Discords, anyways. So very, very inexpensive. The other thing is, if you want to practice on an eval account or any strategy I'm kind of talking about here, I would recommend definitely buying the Apex accounts when they have the 80% off sale. I don't think they're running one right now. I think it's just 50% off right now. I don't know when the next 80% off, but it is 50% off. If you want to click the link in the description, the Apex link. Very, very good to practice these strategies on rather than the demo because it gives you a little motion. So yeah, all right, let's get started. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how to know a fair value gap will be inversed before it actually is inversed. And this can help with the higher time frame because sometimes you won't know this is going to be inversed until it is, and by the time it is inversed, we're already way too low. Okay, that makes sense. We're already way too low. Okay, so this, which I do want to check. Okay, so this will just kind of help you be like, okay, if you think a fair value gap is going to be inversed, okay, and you want to short before, this could help you a little bit. So ideally, I look for two things. Okay, I look for, are we in some sort of discount or premium? So in this price, like for example, if you draw the swing low from here to here, I saw a discount was way down here. Okay, so at this point, I'm already expecting this to be inversed, okay, just because I knew we were in premium. Okay, will this always be inverse? Not always, but you kind of want to expect it to be inverse because we just took out a high, right, and you expect this to be inverse. So that's the first thing, okay, and once that's inversed, okay, how do you know something like this is going to be inverse? Okay, I'm going to go over two different ways. One is going to be looking for equal highs and equal lows or a sell model, and then the other is going to be looking for an order block created on the lower time frame. For example, in this situation, okay, we kind of jumped through this with a lot of speed. We had no reaction off the lower time frame on this whatsoever. Okay, if I just go in replay mode, no reaction off the lower time frame whatsoever, right? The market didn't even try. So at this point, I'm looking for, okay, are the equal lows below? Okay, and at this point, I saw these down here. And I'm like, okay, there's equal lows below. The market was dumping so fast at this point where it kind of just has that sell curve, right? You always look for the curve. If you haven't watched my MMXM video, my market maker model video, I always talk about this curve. Don't know why that just happened. And it starts getting this curve. And really when you start seeing speed and displacement through the buy side of the curve, we're not even getting retracements off these fair value gaps, I immediately know, I'm like, okay, well, these aren't being respected at all. I'm going to look to see if there's anything lower that has my interest. And sure enough, there's equal lows. So really when you see the speed and displacement and really no possible long, not even 1 minute setups right here. Okay, the market is even trying to go along. And we hit buy side. Ideally, you can already predict these are going to be inverse before they are. Although, I will say, if you want to be safer, okay, you know that you have to wait for this to be inverse if you actually want to enter. Because ideally right here, even though you think it's going to be inverse, you don't know when it's going to be inverse. So the reason why I like using inverse is because it kind of gives you the timing on things versus if you kind of just enter here, you don't know if it's going to get inverse right away. You don't know if we're going to go like, okay, let me take my brush tool. You don't know if we're going to go like this and then down, right? So you just don't know. So I use inverses to confirm it, but in this example, because of all the speed and displacement and just watching in live time, the market not giving us any long setups, and the equal lows below, I kind of assume, okay, we're just going to wreck through this and go hit here. Okay, so that's kind of the first way. I look for equal highs or equal lows above and below obvious fair value gaps. Okay, and if I see that, I'm expecting those fair value gaps to eventually get inversed. Okay, so that's the first way. Now the second way is if we get some sort of order block. Okay, and this is probably the more advanced way. Most of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just use the daily as an example here. Okay, if we just go to the daily, okay, and I go in the replay mode. when we're right here, okay, back when we were right here, I was kind of telling my Discord, I'm like, okay, let's see if this fair value gap is inverse. Okay, if this is inverse, I know we will go to this low. Okay, now let me play the next candle. I see a green candle, which is telling me what? Okay, this is bullish. We're reacting out of it nicely. Still kind of in a 50-50 spot, though, because we're in between this bearish fair value gap and this, so you don't really know if this is going to be inverse or not. Let's look at the next candle. As soon as I see this candle trade below the low of this green candle, I now know this is probably going to get inversed. Okay, why do I know that? It's because this is now an order block, right? When you see this green candle sandwich between here, between these two red candles, and then we trade below the low of the green candle, you now see that this is a live order block, telling me that, okay, now the daily order flow has definitely switched bearish because, one, we rejected a daily fair value gap, and two, we formed the daily order block. Now I'm expecting the next candle to close below this, or the next two candles, because now we have the daily order block. Okay, and that's kind of what I base it on. So you can see the next candle does close below as we expected. Okay, so see how kind of the order block tells me something is going to get closed below before? Okay, I'm just going to show you one more example. We had a good example today, if I can find it. It was, let me see if we can find this. I don't remember exactly where it was. It was, I think, right. Give me 1 second. It was earlier on the NQ chart. Oh yeah, I know where it was. It was right here. So at this point, okay, you can see, okay, on the hourly, right, you could see that these two green candles, okay, sandwiched between this red candle and this red candle, right? When we traded below the low of both these green candles right here, if I just zoom in a little bit more, when we traded below the low of that candle, I was like, okay, this is now an order block. So I know if this is an order block in a higher time frame that just went live or just triggered, I know price is probably going to close below this inverse. And also, if you ever see a candle like this where we purge this buy side with not a lot of displacement, and just this candle like this, we're bound to close under this, because when you see a candle like this is just such a major rejection. Have you ever seen price take out liquidity like this, go down, and then just get a single green candle back up? Okay, very rarely. I think I've seen it like once or twice. But the fact that we traded below the low of the hourly order block, okay, right here, the fact that we traded below that tells me in live time that, okay, now that we have an hourly order block, now the next 15-minute candle close should close beneath this as well. So that's kind of how I predict, okay, even if you really want a short entry, you could even enter before it's closed because the order block. Okay, now let's say there's no order block there, then you don't want to guess. You want to wait till the close. But in this situation, it's a little more advanced. Like I said, you can look for the higher time frame or even the lower time frame, look for any sort of order block or anything telling us we're going to probably close below. Okay, and really it was the hourly that gave it away, because we had two green candles sandwiched between this red candle and this red candle. And when this low is taken out, you now know this is an order block and that we're probably going to eventually close under this. Okay, so again, a little advanced, but you can kind of use this to your advantage, and kind of helps you with the draw and liquidity at all. And I think the other thing that kind of told me we're going to close below this is because we took out buy side here. So if we take out buy side and just have a displacement candle like this, do you really expect us to keep bouncing the third time from this? No, not really. So yeah, even though a close below this confirms it, you can probably like try to guess and be like, okay, we should close below it. You're trying to anticipate close below it. So yeah, that's the main two things. I look for equal highs or equal lows above or below the order block, or above or below the inverses, and I also look for like an order block getting formed before the inverses actually close. And I think just the daily chart was just a great example, because you'll see this signature price in a lot of time frames where we'll be inside a bullish fair value gap, and then we'll get an order block and we'll trade below it, but we still haven't closed below it. You can kind of guess we're going to close below it once we see that. So it's just a signature price you want to remember. This does not have a 100% win rate. I would say this is accurate 80 to 90% of the time. Okay, I would say about 80% roughly, but it really helps you narrow down entries and know when we're actually going to inverse something before it's inversed. again, equal highs, equal lows, and then form the order block. Those are the two things you should remember from this video. So look for those, and that will kind of tell you if we're going to inverse in fair value gap before we actually do. Okay, again, it's always going to be much more. It's always going to be a way higher win rate if you wait for the actual close below or above. But this, I know some people like to get aggressive. This is just how you can tell. And if we do have like a low down here, let's say these were equal lows. Usually this fair value gap will help accelerate price through it, and we'll go hit this faster. Versus if there's no fair value gap here, price would probably not hit this as fast because there's a lot of orders that are going to get triggered stop losses in here, and we're just going to run right through them. You can see just these two daily candles are massive right here, stopping every now, and then we retrace and finally retrace to the low. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you. And yeah, other than that, peace out.